Hello, everyone, and welcome to Centre Never Apart. We're so excited to have Donal here as a part of our LGBT film series, Blood and Glitter.
Thank you.
Now, we met many, many moons ago in Vancouver on the set of the new pornographer's video, Sing Me Spanish Techno.
That's right.
Oh my God, that seems like so long ago. Let's chat a little bit about the different documentaries that you and Mike have both made. You guys were dating at that time, and that's when I met you. And I think you were doing more photography at that point.
Right.
So let's talk about Red October.
October Country.
Sorry. And Off Label, the documentaries that you had done, the features.
October Country is a film I made about my family and cycles of poverty in upstate New York, and with Mike Palmieri. And we decided instead of doing your typical documentary, we were going to frame it as a gothic. So it's a documentary, but it's also kind of a ghost story.
Okay.
Yeah.
And are we able to see that online, or?
It is online. It's on iTunes right now.
Okay.
And I'm not sure. Netflix is going to renew it. The distribution company Oscilloscope just put it out, and they're going to do an anniversary edition of it.
Okay.
So it'll be available in the next couple months.
And what about Off Label?
Off Label is available on iTunes.
Okay. What is it about?
That's about human guinea pigs who do drug testing for money.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's like a shadowy. I was talking to some people here, and it's a shadow industry here, and it's a very shadowy industry in the United States.
Okay. Let's talk about the Motherlode video. It was so beautiful. Tell us about the band and how that video came to be.
I love that band. They were, that's their mellow track. They were actually kind of a combination of old school, like angular dance punk, most of their tracks, and then led by this kid, Shanti, who is Nina Simone incarnate. He's performing. But there's also a drag bar in Portland that I adore, which is in danger of closing any minute because Portland is changing quickly. And that everyone you saw in the bar who wasn't in the band are patrons of that bar. So we really wanted to make an homage to that bar.
Yeah.
And the upstairs of that bar has an attic. They keep all the props from the gay pride parades there. So it's kind of an accidental gay pride museum. And we tried to get as much as we could, but it's still a music video, so the form is limited. Let's
talk about Peace in the Valley. Like, so amazing. And how did you even hear of that place? Like,
we were commissioned by Field Division, which is if you don't know it, that's it was started by Laura Poitras and Charlotte Cook, who used to be the head programmer at Hot Docs in Toronto, and Adrian Schnack, who's a filmmaker and producer, and they got together and created a platform for filmmakers. You can pitch a film, or they commission you, and they pay you, and your film goes online. So Peace in the Valley is online for free with many, many other awesome films. And it's a really great thing for American filmmakers because there's so little funding.
Right.
So, and a lot of people just want to make a short film, but it's daunting because if you make it, no one's going to see it, and you'll probably have to pay for it yourself. So things like Field Division
really help.
Yeah, and they just approached us and they said there's this civil rights battle, but there's also this outdoor theater and a 65-foot statue of Jesus.
Which is so crazy.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we all went. Yeah.
Well, seeing like the shots of Christ rise and then the drag queens spinning with their cash and the climate of that moment, obviously with the vote and everything, like, was that part of the plan, making the movie, knowing that this was happening?
We went in knowing that there was a big LGBT community and the Passion Play, and that's how we knew. We just
okay. So the timing kind of worked on your behalf as far as the vote and all of that. And why is there such a big LGBT community there?
It's a funny place. It's like it was a hippie community at one.
Okay.
Yeah, at one point, it was a 19th century spa. There's amazing stone Victorians. It's very cheap, and then it just slowly, the town itself became kind of this strange little island of safety in the midst of the KKK headquarters for Arkansas is 40 miles away.
Whoa.
Yeah. So it's a special it's a very strange and special place.
It's, yeah, very unique.
Yeah.
Now, what else is happening with this film? I know we talked a little bit about, this is the short version, and
We've been going back since we made the short film. Everyone in that film, in Peace in the Valley, is a devout Christian. They all are really Bible reading, Bible quoting Christians, including the drag queens, the men who own the bar, everyone. So we're doing a film about that is putting a drag show against sort of what happens at the very end. We're putting a drag show against the protection of the Passion Play and filming back and forth and asking people how they are interpreting their Christianity.
because they're both campy, they're both drama.
Right, right.
And they're both drag of some sort,
Very-
whether it's Christ drag or...
We haven't told the people in the Passion Play that they're actually doing a drag show and lip syncing, and actually not lip syncing very well. Because the soundtrack, we don't use a lot of soundtrack to the Passion Play, but it is actually it's a soundtrack that, because the actors are interchangeable,
Right.
so they just mouth the words. So they're basically
Pantomimes,
yeah,
drag queens.
They're drag queens. Yeah.
That's funny. Have you always been involved in the arts? Like, when did you sort of get the flair to create art?
I grew up in North Carolina, and I half ran away. I applied for a scholarship to the School of Visual Arts in New York City, and I
Okay.
didn't tell my parents because they wouldn't have let me do it.
And that's the whole other film that we'll have to watch next time to understand that.
So when I was 17, I moved away to New York City to study painting.
Okay.
And I ended up in San Francisco and started photographing, and I really cut my teeth as a photographer doing the drag scene in San Francisco.
Those are crazy girls. We got
Yeah.
Peaches Christ coming in soon. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, so you do photography and you also dabbled in music as well. Let's talk about
Right.
that a little bit.
I grew up in a culture of bluegrass music, so I can play banjo and mandolin, and I can play
Hot.
autoharp.
Okay. So where did the switch from photography to cinema and making film?
Actually, when I met Mike, he was doing music videos,
Yeah.
and that was the switch. We decided around the same time he got the New Pornographers video.
Yeah.
That's when we had decided we were going to try to make a film about my family that was based off essays that I'd written in photography of my family, and that became the film October Country.
How was making that? That must have been crazy.
It was weird. Yeah, it was. I knew they were kind of used to having a camera put in their face, but I didn't realize what little superstars my family were. You know, I mean, for like a working class American family that suffers, you know, domestic abuse and child abuse and all sorts of, you know, the like almost a cliche list of problems that working poor people can face in America. They have a great sense of humor that kind of
Works on film.
right. Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Who are some of your biggest influences?
It's tricky because sometimes you have influences that don't show in your actual filmmaking. So Chris Marker is, I love Chris Marker's films. But in the filmmaking, it's more, I read a lot. So like Angela Carter, and her, I don't know if you guys know her work, but British author who sort of reinterpreted fairy tales and myths, and it has this kind of hyperbolic exuberance, but also very shrewd, very, very analytical and shrewd. So she's a big influence on me. And when I'm working on film, then we just, the music that we choose
Yeah.
for each film is a big, you know, the atmosphere of music is probably the biggest influence there.
What would you say have been some of your career highlights or moments of gratitude?
October Country was a big thing because it did really, really well, and we did it by ourselves without. We got funding after it was made.
Okay.
And then to take the film, it traveled to the United States and traveled to Europe, and to see people responding to my family, it was a strange moment. If you come from a small, disenfranchised community, to have people respond to it, and
Right.
understand it, and see their own experience reflected, that was probably that's still the highlight of doing this.
Now, you've been to Montreal before. What beckons you here again this time?
Montreal is like, it's a breath of fresh air.
How so? How
Because
so?
I mean, I live in Portland, Oregon, and Portland, Oregon is a beautiful city, but it is not a multicultural city. It's not a strongly diverse city, and in terms of even in American history, it's a relatively new city.
Right.
And so this is like, I get to like be back where life can be somewhat cheap and diverse, and there's just better art and culture here.
But you're here for something cultural as well.
Yeah, I'm part of.
Other than this.
Right. Yeah, I'm here for the documentary festival, the RIDM, which is still going on, and so people should definitely check that out. And there's actually a couple of filmmakers who have films here, and you can talk to them.
You've had some of your films play in the festival before,
Yeah.
but this year you're doing something a little different.
This year I'm just doing this.
Hanging out,
Yeah.
talking.
Talking.
So you'll be doing some panels?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yay, what else can we expect from the future from you?
We're doing the long form. We're taking Peace in the Valley, and
Yeah.
that's our big stuff right now.
Cool. What about Never Apart, sort of, I mean, you were here last year and you saw one of our films we were doing with the LGBT series, and that's
Right.
sort of inspired all of this. What about this cultural organization resonates with you?
I mean, especially right now in America with everything that just happened, that any sort of community space that does, the multi-platform work that you guys do, and that seems solid and like already entrenched in the community. These things. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen in America, but everyone feels like these kind of spaces could be in serious danger. So this is it's really nice to be here. It's actually
We like having you. Yay. I mean, Montreal's a unique city, so is Portland. What's going on in Portland? Like you were mentioning that there's threat of some of the bars closing. I mean, to me, I've been to Portland once, and it's such a bizarre little, unique, amazing little town full of like creatives and weirdos in a good way. What's
Portland is located right between San Francisco and Seattle, and those are the two cities that have been, I think the creative spirit has been totally decimated by the new tech economy, especially San Francisco. The loss of San Francisco, it's changed so much, and it was always the place where if you were in any kind of underground scene, or you were queer, or you just didn't want to fit into the rest of America, that was your place.
Yeah.
And now it's the most expensive city in America, and
gentrification's everywhere?
yeah,
Right.
yeah. And so Portland being where it is, that the same problems are happening there, but slower.
Yeah, I mean, I hope there's still that magic that's there, a little
It's
Twin
there.
Peaks-ish.
You just have to dig. You have to dig. And I think everything that's happened recently is going to change something, because for the first time in a long time, the people who are actually doing the gentrification and the people who are in any sort of underground, they're actually on the same political side. And that is something that might unify them and create a dialogue between communities that wasn't happening before. So I'm hoping some little bits of that kind of thing happen.
I mean, I'm hoping the pendulum swings back. I mean, not to get too political of
Right.
what's gone on this week. I mean, it's pretty frightening.
Yeah.
What are your hopes of, how can we fix it?
I don't know, but if if I come back in a couple months and need a spouse, then please help me.
Well, I want to thank you so much for coming. And if there's any questions from the audience, please don't be shy. Not that we can see your hands. I think there's one. Yep.
So to go back to Peace in the Valley, I have a question about that. You mentioned a drag show that would be played in opposition to the Passion Play. Will they be doing a kind of drag version of the Passion Play? That's definitely something that I would want to watch.
I know.
Or is it like a completely different type of show?
The funny thing is, we were kind of hoping it would move in that direction, but the drag queens who perform have actually been to the Passion Play, and because they are very serious in their Christianity, they'll be foul as hell in
The drag bar.
the drag bar, but they won't mock the Passion Play, and they won't mock the people who go there, which was surprising and actually very moving to me.
Well, I
So-
mean, it sort of probably is one of the main, for that town, a way of bringing tourists there, and a means of that town surviving.
Yeah, and right now it's kind of neck and neck. The passion play is on the wane, and the LGBT tourism is up.
Really?
But neither party wants to say for sure who's winning.
And why is the LGBT, why are people coming there? Why are they visiting?
Yeah.
Other than to see the campy
Because
Christ.
there's nothing else around.
Okay, so
It's-
people
it's-
from that area.
Yeah. I mean, you can go visit the KKK, or you can just go to a drag show.
Right. I'll go to the drag show.
Yeah.
Great, is there anything else?
I have one.
Yeah.
Just curious. The scene at the end of the Passion Play when Jesus was on the crucifix and then he cuts to the spider on the spider web, was that like projection from the Passion Play, or did that actually happen at the same time, like where you were?
The way I work with Mike is he's the predominant cinematographer, and so I'm often near him, and if I see something that strikes me, I'll kind of tap him or let him know. So I saw that he was filming the crucifixion, and there were all these spiders, and I was like, can you get a spider?
Girl, film the spiders.
But then he found a way to get the crucifixion to the spider. So that was a moment of like real nice collaboration between the two of us.
Stroke of genius.
Oh, thanks.
Now, you guys aren't together anymore, but you're still working together as film
Right.
partners. I think that's awesome.
We have bratty children called films.
Yay, well, thanks you all for coming, and Donal, thank you so much.
And
And
I just want to add one thing.
Yeah.
I haven't talked about how the very first collaboration Mike and I ever did, Mike ended up in Vancouver doing a new pornographers video, and he said, the drag town is nice, but aside from one drag queen, who would be we need better talent. So I got Juanita Moore from San Francisco,
Yeah.
and that's how.
who's my fictional mother.
Right.
And Juanita in the drag scene is one of the, I mean, for many years, there's Juanita Moore, there's Peaches Christ, who's coming here on December 3rd, and Heclina. Those are the three that really stand out to me, and I've worked with them all at Tranny Shack, and I loved that moment of having Juanita up in Vancouver, and we had a blast, and she's my fictional mama.
Yeah. So that's how that came about.
Yeah, cool. Well, thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you.